Hey there. Ready to unlock like a really fascinating chapter of India's heritage?
I think we're going to have some fun today.
Yeah, today we're diving deep into the world of temple architecture and sculpture,
Right.
focusing on like the 5th to the 14th centuries CE.
Pretty remarkable period.
Yeah, whether you're a budding UPSC aspirant,
Mm-hmm.
a curious student, or just someone who loves history and art.
Yeah.
This deep dive is your express ticket to understanding like a key part of India's cultural legacy.
That's right. And we'll be, journeying through centuries of artistic development,
Wow.
exploring the magnificent temples of both North and South India.
Okay.
We'll uncover the distinct styles
Yeah.
of Nagara and Dravida architecture
Cool.
and touch upon the remarkable contributions of Buddhist and Jain traditions.
Okay.
Think of this as like a crash course
I like it.
in Indian temple architecture and sculpture.
Now, it's important to note that most of what survived from this era is religious architecture.
Yeah.
Homes and palaces built from wood or clay just simply didn't stand the test of time.
Sadly.
Yeah, so we're essentially peeking into the past through a window of stone.
Exactly, and what a view it is.
Okay.
Even from these early temples, you can see the foundations of a complex and evolving architectural tradition.
Mhm.
Imagine it's the 5th or 6th century CE,
Okay.
and we're in Madhya Pradesh.
Right.
Simple structures begin to emerge, with a veranda, a hall, and a shrine at the back.
Okay.
These are some of the earliest examples of what would later blossom into the magnificent temples we know today.
It's fascinating to think that while these early Hindu temples were being built,
All right.
construction of Buddhist stupas was also continuing.
Absolutely.
It wasn't about isolated pockets of artistic development,
Mm-hmm.
but like a vibrant exchange of ideas.
Absolutely. Religious and artistic innovations often happened in parallel, influencing and inspiring one another.
Okay, before we get lost in a sea of stunning temples,
Okay,
let's take a step back and like break down the basic anatomy of a Hindu temple.
I like it.
It'll be like having a blueprint in hand as we explore.
It's a great idea. Every Hindu temple, no matter how elaborate, is typically built around a few core elements.
Okay.
Think of them as the building blocks of sacred space.
First, we have the Garbhagriha,
Yes.
literally the womb house.
Mm-hmm.
This is the heart of the temple, the inner sanctum where the main deity resides.
Then you have the mandapa, a pillared hall or portico where worshippers gather for communal devotion and rituals.
Okay.
Imagine this as a space buzzing with energy filled with the chanting of hymns and the scent of incense.
And finally, we have the towering structure that gives the temple its grandeur.
Yes.
Either the Shikara in North India
Uh-huh.
or the Vimana in South India.
Right.
These often resemble mountains, symbolizing a connection to the divine.
You can almost imagine these structures as a bridge between the earthly realm and the heavens.
I like it.
And what's fascinating is that this basic form then gets adapted and reimagined in countless ways depending on the region, the time period, and the specific deity being worshipped.
So let's start our journey in the north, shall we?
Let's do it.
To the land of Nagara temples.
Imagine temples built on raised platforms accessed by grand staircases, often without elaborate boundary walls.
Interesting.
The Shikara, that soaring tower we talked about, is the star of the show here, drawing your eye upwards.
And within this Nagara style, there's incredible diversity.
Oh, for sure.
Tell me more about the different types of Nagara temples.
So you have the Latina,
Right.
also known as the Rika Prasada, with its elegantly curving spire, almost like a graceful flame reaching for the sky.
Oh, wow.
Then there's the broader Famsana,
Okay.
which has a more pyramidal shape, often with multiple tiers.
Hmm.
And finally, there's the Vallabhi, distinguished by its vaulted roof, reminiscent of ancient wooden architecture.
It's amazing how each style has its own personality.
It really is.
It makes you want to travel across India just to see them all.
It truly is a feast for the eyes, and each style tells a story about the beliefs, the aspirations, and the artistic innovations of the people who created them.
Speaking of stories, let's travel to central India.
Okay.
Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan,
Hmm.
where some of the oldest surviving temples stand sculpted from the beautiful sandstone of the region.
That's right.
What treasures await us there?
One stunning example is the Dashavatara Temple
Okay.
at Deogar,
Right.
a classic example of the late Gupta period style. It's what's known as a Panchayatana temple.
So what exactly does Panchayatana mean?
It means the temple has 4 smaller shrines surrounding the main shrine, creating a symmetrical and harmonious layout.
Interesting.
In this case, the main shrine is dedicated to Vishnu. The temple's carvings are incredibly detailed, showcasing Vishnu in his various forms and telling stories from Hindu mythology.
Wow, scenes from Hindu mythology carved right into the stone.
They really are quite something.
It must have been an incredible sight to behold.
Absolutely. The artists of this period were true masters of their craft, able to breathe life into stone and tell stories that would resonate for centuries.
Now let's fast forward a few centuries
All right.
to the 10th century
Okay.
and arrive at the legendary temples of Khajuraho, built by the Chandela kings.
Ah, Khajuraho.
I know I've heard a lot about them.
These temples are a feast for the eyes. They're known not only for their stunning architecture, but also for their intricate sculptures, some of which are, shall we say, decidedly erotic.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
What was the cultural context for these sculptures? Were they considered scandalous back then?
Not at all. It's important to remember that in this period, eroticism was viewed quite differently.
Interesting.
It was seen as auspicious, a celebration of life, and the cosmic order.
You know, hearing about these erotic sculptures really makes me wonder if people back then had a totally different relationship with the body and spirituality than we do today. It's fascinating to think about how societal norms and values have evolved over time.
It certainly is. The temples of Khajuraho are a testament to the Chandela's embrace of all aspects of human experience, from the spiritual to the sensual, all woven into the very fabric of their sacred spaces.
From the temples of Khajuraho, let's journey westward
Okay.
to Gujarat and Rajasthan, where the Sun Temple at Mathura awaits.
All right.
I've heard it's all about light and water.
It is.
What can you tell me about it?
Prepare to be amazed. This early 11th century temple
Okay.
boasts a massive stepped tank
Okay.
called the Surya Kund, a common feature in many temples.
Uh-huh.
These tanks weren't just for show,
Right.
They symbolize the purifying power of water in Hindu rituals. So even before you entered the temple, you were already preparing for a spiritual experience.
That's so interesting. So the architecture itself was playing a role in preparing people for their spiritual journey.
Exactly.
Only a clever design element.
And the brilliance doesn't stop there. The Sun Temple is also designed to harness the power of light.
Okay.
During the equinoxes, the sun's rays shine directly into the central shrine, illuminating the inner sanctum.
Wow.
It's as if the temple itself is aligned with the cosmos, a tangible link between the earthly and the divine.
Wow. The architectural ingenuity of that era is truly mind-boggling. It really is something else.
So we've explored central India
Mm-hmm.
and ventured west.
Yes.
Where does our journey through the land of Nagra temples take us next?
Let's head eastward now into the diverse landscape of East India, the Northeast, Bengal, and Odisha.
Okay.
Here, temple architecture takes on a whole new dimension, reflecting the unique traditions and materials of these regions. Welcome back to our exploration of Indian temple architecture.
I'm ready to dive back into this fascinating world. Last time we laid the groundwork, understanding the core elements of a Hindu temple, and started our journey through the diverse landscape of Nagra temples in North and Central India.
That's right. We marveled at the intricate details of the Dashavatara temple at Diagar and explored the celebration of life at the legendary temples of Khajuraho.
It was incredible.
We even witnessed how the Sun Temple at Mathura masterfully harnessed both light and water in its design.
Yeah, it was truly awe-inspiring.
So we left off in East India, ready to explore how Nagra architecture evolved in regions like the Northeast, Bengal, and Odisha.
Right.
What makes these temples unique?
These regions showcase a fascinating blend of influences from the classical Gupta style to local vernacular traditions.
Okay.
And later on, you even see elements borrowed from Islamic architecture woven into the tapestry.
Wow.
It's a melting pot of architectural styles.
So each region adds its own unique flavor to the Nagra style.
Right.
Can you give me some examples of what this fusion of styles looks like in practice?
Absolutely. In Assam, for instance, you have the Kamakya Temple, a Shakti Peeth dedicated to goddess Kamakya.
Okay.
While it was built in the 17th century, it reflects architectural styles from earlier periods, showcasing the continuity of tradition.
It's amazing how these temples act as living records of history, preserving architectural styles across centuries. What about Bengal?
Right.
I've heard they have a unique tradition of using terracotta in their temples.
You're absolutely right. Terracotta was a readily available material in Bengal, and it lent itself beautifully to intricate carvings and decorations. The terracotta temples of Vishnupur are a prime example.
I can already picture them, intricately carved terracotta. What else makes these temples stand out?
They're known for their distinctive curving roofs, almost reminiscent of traditional Bengali huts. It's a beautiful example of how local traditions were integrated into temple architecture.
It sounds like a harmonious blend of the sacred and the everyday. It's as if the temples themselves are rooted in the landscape and the lives of the people.
Exactly. These temples are a testament to the ingenuity of Bengali artisans, their ability to adapt and innovate, blending different influences into a uniquely Bengali architectural style.
And speaking of unique and breathtaking, we can't forget the magnificent, though partially ruined, Sun Temple at Konark in Odisha.
Right.
It sounds like a story waiting to be told.
Konark is truly a masterpiece of the Eastern Ganga dynasty. Imagine a colossal chariot sculpted in stone dedicated to Surya, the sun god.
A chariot sculpted in stone that's incredible. Were there any other unique features of this temple?
The temple was originally built right on the coastline, and it is said that the temple's shikara was so tall that it eventually collapsed under its own weight. It's a reminder that even the grandest structures are subject to the forces of nature, the passage of time.
It's almost poetic, the idea of this grand temple reaching for the heavens, eventually succumbing to the earth. But I imagine even in its ruined state, it's still a sight to behold.
Oh, absolutely. Konark remains an awe-inspiring testament to the ambition and artistry of its creators.
From the plains of Bengal to the coastal grandeur of Konark, our journey through East India has been quite an experience. Where does our exploration of Nagara temples take us next?
Let's venture into the hills now to Kuman, Garhwal, Himachal, and Kashmir.
Okay.
Here, temple architecture takes on a distinct character shaped by the mountainous terrain.
I can already imagine the breathtaking views. How did the landscape influence the architecture of these temples?
You see a fascinating blend of Nagara style with elements of traditional wooden architecture. Temples in this region often feature pitched roofs and unique designs adapted to withstand the elements.
It makes sense that they would have to adapt to the climate. Can you give me an example of one of these unique temples?
One striking example is the Pandrathan Temple in Kashmir, built during the 8th and 9th centuries.
Okay.
It's situated in the middle of a tank, reflecting the importance of water in Hindu rituals, and features a pitched roof designed to handle the region's heavy snowfall.
So even amidst the grandeur of these temples, we see practicality woven into their very design. It's a reminder that architecture is not just about aesthetics, but also about responding to the environment.
Exactly. The Pandrathan Temple is a beautiful example of how functionality and aesthetics can be seamlessly combined.
As we wrap up our exploration of Nagara temples, it's clear that this style is far from monolithic. We've seen incredible diversity, from the simplicity of early Gupta-era structures to the elaborate temples of Khajuraho and Konark, and now these wonderfully unique temples nestled in the hills.
You've hit the nail on the head. Nagara architecture isn't about a single blueprint. It's a dynamic tradition that evolved over centuries, incorporating regional influences and artistic innovations.
It's like a family of styles,
Yeah,
each with its own distinct personality and story to tell.
it is.
This deep dive has truly been an eye-opening experience.
It's been a pleasure to guide you through this journey, and now in the next part of our deep dive, we'll turn our attention south to the majestic world of Dravida temples.
I can't wait. Get ready for towering gopurams, intricate carvings, and a whole new architectural vocabulary. Welcome back. Our journey through Indian temple architecture continues, and now we're heading south to explore the majestic world of Dravida temples.
All right.
I'm ready for towering gopurams, intricate carvings, and a whole new architectural language.
You're in for a treat. Dravida temples have a distinct visual vocabulary that sets them apart from the Nagara style we've been exploring. Okay, imagine temples enclosed within massive compound walls with towering entrance gateways called gopurams that dominate the skyline.
Yes, those gopurams are truly breathtaking. They're like elaborately decorated skyscrapers welcoming you into a sacred world.
Right.
And what about that other key feature you mentioned, the Vimana?
Instead of the curving shikaras we saw in Nagara temples, Dravida temples are crowned with the Vimana, a majestic stepped pyramid that rises towards the heavens.
It's amazing how these architectural elements create such a different feeling, a different kind of sacred space.
It really is.
And you mentioned earlier that there's incredible diversity within the Dravida style as well.
Absolutely. Just like with Nagara temples, Dravida architecture evolved over centuries, incorporating regional influences and artistic innovations.
So where should we begin our exploration of this fascinating architectural tradition?
Let's start with the Pallavas,
Okay.
a dynasty that flourished in South India from the 6th to the 8th centuries CE.
Right.
They were master builders known for both rock-cut and structural temples.
I've heard of the Pallavas. They're the ones who built the shore temple at Mahabalipuram.
Got it.
That complex of temples right on the coast is incredible.
You're exactly right. The Shore Temple is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and for good reason.
I can imagine.
It's a breathtaking testament to the Pallava's architectural prowess and their deep connection to the sea.
What makes the Shore Temple so unique besides its location?
Well, it's not just one shrine, but three.
Oh.
Two dedicated to Shiva and one to Vishnu.
Mm-hmm.
And the way these shrines are arranged, facing different directions, suggests that they were likely added at different times.
So the Shore Temple itself is a reflection of how religious practices and patronage evolves over time,
Yes.
like a microcosm of architectural history.
Precisely. And the sculptures at the Shore Temple are just as remarkable as its architecture. You'll see majestic Nandi bulls lining the walls and intricate carvings depicting scenes from Hindu mythology.
It's as if the temple itself is telling a story, inviting us to explore the rich tapestry of Hindu belief and tradition.
Now let's journey inland, from the coastal grandeur of the Shore Temple to the heart of Tamil Nadu, to the era of the Cholas,
Okay.
a dynasty that took temple building to epic proportions.
Ah, the Cholas, they were renowned for their architectural ambition and their mastery of granite as a building material.
That's right.
They're the ones who built the Brihadiswar temple, right?
Yes.
The one that's often called the Big Temple.
You know your temples. The Brihadiswar Temple in Thanjavur is indeed a Chola masterpiece, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. It's the largest and tallest temple in India, a true marvel of engineering and artistry.
I've seen pictures, but I can only imagine what it must feel like to stand before this towering structure.
I bet.
What kind of statement were the Cholas trying to make with this temple?
It's a testament to their power, wealth, and devotion. The temple's Vimana soars over 200 feet high, dominating the skyline of Thanjavur. Imagine the skill and effort it took to construct such a massive structure all those centuries ago.
It's mind-boggling, and it's not just about size, is it? I've heard the Brihadiswar temple is covered in intricate carvings.
You're absolutely right. The walls are adorned with thousands of sculptures depicting scenes from Hindu mythology and showcasing the incredible craftsmanship of Chola artisans. It's like a visual encyclopedia of Hindu belief, all carved in stone.
Wow, and is the Brihadiswar temple unique, or did the Cholas build other impressive temples like this?
The Brihadiswar temple is their crowning achievement, but the Cholas built numerous temples across their vast empire, each a testament to their architectural prowess. It was truly a golden age of temple architecture, a period of unparalleled creativity and innovation.
From the Cholas in Tamil Nadu, let's shift our focus south to the Deccan region. I'm curious to hear about how Dravida architecture evolved there.
Okay, the Deccan is a fascinating region, a cultural crossroads where North and South Indian influences converge.
Interesting.
And in temple architecture, this blending is evident in the Visara style, a unique hybrid form.
So Visara temples are a fusion of Nagra and Dravida elements.
Exactly. It's like a fusion cuisine of architectural styles, each bringing its own flavors to create something new and exciting.
I love that analogy. Can you give me an example of a temple that showcases this Visara style?
One of the most striking examples is the Hoysalswara Temple in Halabad, Karnataka. It's famous for its star-shaped design and its incredibly intricate sculptures.
I've seen pictures of those sculptures. The level of detail is unbelievable. What did the Hoysala artists like to depict in their work?
They were masters of detail, and their sculptures at Halabad showcase a wide range of subjects, from Hindu deities to scenes from everyday life, all carved with incredible precision. It's as if the temple itself is a living, breathing testament to the richness and diversity of Hoysala culture.
Sounds like a feast for the eyes. So we've covered a lot of ground with Hindu temples.
We have.
But we can't forget about the other major religions that were flourishing in India during this period. What about Buddhist and Jain architecture?
You're right. Buddhist and Jain architectural achievements during this time were equally remarkable, even though they are often overlooked. One of the most important Buddhist sites is the Mahabodhi Temple at Bodh Gaya in Bihar, which marks the site of the Buddha's enlightenment.
Ah, the Mahabodhi Temple. That's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a major pilgrimage destination for Buddhists from all over the world.
Exactly. And its design is quite unique, incorporating elements of both Nagra and Dravida styles. It's a reminder that architectural influences often transcended religious boundaries.
That's fascinating. So even within Buddhist architecture, we see this cross-pollination of styles.
Yeah.
What about other important Buddhist sites? Weren't there also monastic universities?
Yes. One of the most famous was Nalanda, also in Bihar.
Okay.
It was a vast monastic university, a center of learning and art production that attracted scholars from all across Asia.
Nalanda was like an ancient version of a global university. What kind of art did they produce there?
The sculptures from Nalanda are truly remarkable.
Hmm.
They were often created in bronze, stucco, and stone, and they showcase the skill of Pala artisans, their ability to capture the essence of Buddhist teachings in physical form.
Now, let's turn our attention to Jain architecture. What were some of the key features and achievements of Jain temples during this period?
Jain temples, like their Hindu counterparts, can be found across India, each with its own unique character and beauty. One of the most famous Jain temple complexes is at Mount Abu in Rajasthan.
I've heard of Mount Abu. It's a beautiful hill station, isn't it? What are the temples like there?
They are known for their intricate marble carvings and their serene atmosphere, reflecting the Jain emphasis on nonviolence and the pursuit of spiritual liberation.
It sounds incredibly peaceful. And are there any other Jain sites that stand out?
In Karnataka, there's the colossal statue of Gomateshwara at Shravanabelagala. Imagine a monolithic statue standing over 57 feet tall.
Wow, a 57-foot tall statue. That's truly monumental. What does Gomateshwara represent in Jainism?
He's a revered figure, a symbol of self-control and renunciation, reminding Jains of the path to enlightenment.
So, as we conclude our exploration of Indian temple architecture and sculpture, I'm struck by the sheer diversity and richness of this tradition. We've encountered towering gopurams, intricate carvings, colossal statues, and a symphony of architectural styles that reflect centuries of innovation and cultural exchange.
It's been an incredible journey, hasn't it?
It really has.
From the simplicity of early temples to the grandeur of Chola constructions, we've seen how architecture can embody beliefs, aspirations, and even the environment itself.
And we've witnessed the incredible skill and creativity of Indian artisans. Their ability to bring stories to life in stone, bronze, and terracotta, they've left behind a legacy that continues to inspire and amaze us today.
They really have.
So the next time you encounter an Indian temple, take a moment to truly appreciate its architecture, its sculptures, and the stories they tell. Think about the hands that shaped those stones, the minds that conceived those designs, and the hearts that poured devotion into those sacred spaces.
Yes.
Because Indian temple architecture is more than just a collection of beautiful buildings. It's a reflection of India's rich cultural heritage, a testament to the enduring power of human creativity and spirituality.
And that's a legacy worth celebrating and preserving for generations to come.